So in this latest Marist national poll that we did with NPR and PBS News, we asked a whole bunch of things. I want to unpack a few of the highlights from it, some of which are very timely. And number one, I think, is the question of whether people find someone to blame for the government shutdown. We asked this question on the eve of the shutdown, but now it's become a reality, and 38% told us that they blame the Republicans, 27% say they blame the Democrats, 31% say both. Well, if you add the both to either the Republicans or to the Democrat number, you're talking about a clear majority of finger pointing going around that's probably doing no one a whole lot of good at a time when we also found out that there's a growing number of people think we're headed in the wrong direction in this country. That number changed from 54% to 62%. We don't usually get a big jump. That's a big jump. In fact, if you take the right direction, wrong direction, combine the change, there's a 15-point swing on the direction of the country. So we're looking at a time now where the government has shut down at exactly the time where people are more dissatisfied than they've been in quite a long time over the direction of the country. So those are a couple questions that I think were kind of very timely and very important. We also asked about whether people have a reaction to the extent of freedom of right to free speech in the country. And I thought it was interesting. 19% said that they felt that we've gone too far in expanding free speech. 79% think we've gone too far in restricting. Now, in terms of the too far in expanding, Democrats are 12 and independents are 12%. So they're very similar and identical in that. When we asked Republicans about that, when we looked at them, 64% feel that we've gone too far in restricting, and 31% think we've gone too far in expanding freedom of speech. What I find interesting about that, in the era of polarization, we sort of have Democrats on the one side, Republicans on the other side. Now there's a gap between Democrats and Republicans on this, but they're both on the same side. They're both saying we've gone too far in expanding free speech, and the group that says overwhelmingly we've gone too far in restricting it. So there's, again, discomfort in those numbers. And I think there was one other thing I wanted to highlight right now, because it's, in the news, out of the news, in the news, out of the news. That's the whole issue of the Epstein files that we talked about in this poll. And we found that when the disapproval of the Trump administration on handling the Epstein files, by 3-1, people disapprove, but a quarter of Republicans are in that group also. 25% say they disapprove of that. And if you looked at that wrong direction question I talked about earlier, the biggest increase in wrong direction was among Republicans as well. So during the Trump era, during this 10 years that Donald Trump has been on our electoral scene, political scene, everybody's been wondering whether something's going to stick. And are Republicans going to break loose? Are they going to stay in line? And up to this point, they've been marching in line with Donald Trump. Now I'm seeing in some of these numbers an inkling that maybe things aren't quite as solid. And I think in Congress, on the Epstein files, there's obviously been some grumbling, and it's coming from Republicans this time, not just Democrats. And I think that's something to watch. The White House is very sensitive to that. And don't forget, looking over everybody's shoulder coming up, midterm elections, and that's something that is going to be motivating a lot of actions, both in the shutdown of the government, the Epstein files, the argument over free speech, other questions that we've asked about, the vaccine, a mandatory vaccine, National Guard being used to go into cities, whole bunch of things on the table. Will one dominate, or are people going to just suffer from political fatigue because there's so much to deal with? That is something we're going to have to watch down the road. But right now, lots of stuff to talk about, and this poll tapped into quite a bit.